Hey, here we are, alive, ho. Seeing out the weekend. Look at me. Got to be a bit more. You say, angry. Are you wearing a dressing gown late on a Sunday night? Yes, because I haven't bothered to get dressed all day. So deal with it. But I had a goddamn shower just before coming on here, lying around in my own filth all day. Ugh, and I thought I should have a shower before coming on here. So I did, but I couldn't be bothered putting on clothes. So you get me in my dressing gown because that's just the way it is. So yes, fairly warned be ye. I am in a very lazy Sunday mood. Aidsy said he was going to join, talk to him a little bit earlier today, and I have sent him the link for the live stream. Remains to be seen if we actually see him and when we see him. It's very hard to be sure. Actually, quickly just checking if I have a massage from him. What's this about? Right. What was I doing there? Okay, cool. No new message from AZ. So who knows what is happening in the world. Quite old Sunday night so far. It's very hard to tell exactly what's happening on StreamYard. It kind of tells me information about who's watching, but it can be out of date. So, wowzers, for all I know, if you're watching this back another time, it may just be ye and me hanging out together. We'll have to see how long I last, because after 2 late nights on the streams, I've been a little bit tired yesterday. I'm actually better today than I was yesterday. I think on Friday night, I drank more over an extended period. But last night, I drank more in a short period of time. Like, I drank more overall on Friday night, but it was stretched out over more hours. And for the period that I had some drinks last night, I had more in a compressed time. So that's okay. But yes, between about 6 and 7, I had this sudden wave of tiredness, and I almost didn't arrive. Softcock Bob, what T-shirt did I say I was going to make? I say a lot of things, and I remember very few of them. So you're going to have to be a bit more precise about T-shirts, because that's a phrase I use a lot. So, yes, and interesting. Did I say I was getting a Softcock Bob T-shirt? Maybe. You know, the funny thing is, if you go on Twitter and you say, I want this on a T-shirt, these scummy intellectual property stealing websites will actually put it on a T-shirt. So it's a way you've actually got to be a little bit careful if an artist you like posts something on Twitter. If you say, sort of quote Twitter or something, say, I want this on a T-shirt, these scumbags have scrapers that find the phrase, I want this on a T-shirt, and actually put it on T-shirts, which has resulted in some artists doing some very funny guerrilla fight backs and saying, I want this on a t-shirt. And what it is the words, don't buy from this t-shirt. They're scumbags who steal art. So this website has stuff plastered all over it saying, don't buy from this website. They're scumbags who steal art. Hellion, hello, Kirsten. Softcock Bob, you may be right that nobody wants Softcock Bob on a t-shirt. That might have been reflective of how many drinks I'd had on Friday night. But don't know what else is, honestly, I might not survive that long time-wise. How much alcohol do I have in the background? I'm a cocktail professional, Bob. I've got to have a big supply. You can only see half of it. There's a second drink cut. Dun, dun, dun. So I've got to have a selection on hand to maintain cocktail superiority. What's that doing? Because I only want a little bit at a time. But I want variety. So I end up with a lot of bottles. And they tend to last a long time. But hey, why have a goddamn job if you can't use it to buy booze? That's my question. I don't think my doctor likes me asking that question. Just joking, I don't have a doctor. I mean, I've seen doctors, but I don't have a doctor. Is anyone like a grown-up who has a doctor? There's a doctor you go to and they know your medical history? Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? Yes, Kirsten is also a drinks professional. No, well, okay, Bob, if you drank a lot of it, it would start to get a bit samey. I think you may be right there. That's why I like cocktails, because that's a whole taste experience. You can be just drinking, but I try not to be just drinking. It's a taste experience. And when I say drinking, like on Friday night, I had the equivalent over 6 hours, because we were on for a long time on Friday night. Over 6 hours, I had the equivalent of about 5 or 6 cocktails. Speaking of over 5 or 6 hours, it's a...
How you doing, man?
Good, matey. How you doing?
You're looking quite dapper.
I haven't got dressed all day. I had a shower just before coming on and put my dressing gown, so I'm doing it Hugh Hefner style tonight.
Fuck, if you're going to go there.
Yeah. I just couldn't be bothered getting dressed. Bobby's Kyla coming, he might. It is. We are getting very close to the longest day of the year here. Our solstice is the 21st of December, so it's 2 weeks away. It is 2 weeks until the longest day of the year. Then it'll slowly getting shorter, the days, and then we'll get into the stinky hot weather. I mean, some places have had the stinky. Here we go. It's sexy men about town in their smoking jackets. That's the other when they wore the ones with the pipe and stuff. They called it a smoking jacket. Dressing gown.
And they were worn over tuxedos.
Yes, you were actually clothed under them. I used to have one.
They didn't want ash from cigars and pipes to stain the Italian wool of their suits and the Portuguese wool of their suits. And very soon, the Australian wool of their suits. But they didn't say that it was Australian wool. They said it was Italian wool. Because the suits came from Italy. It was Australian wool. And it was weird because the wool would go to Manchester, where it would be put into twill, and then be taken over to Italy and cut up and made into suits, and then it'd be brought back to England as a tightened fabric, and most of the tailors would bring in off the rack suits and straight dyed fabric, and they'd make their own cut suits in Savile Row, so that you could go in and get a fitted suit and look like the gentleman you are. And the tradition hasn't changed much. Australian wool is still being used all over the world in good suits. New Zealand wool, however, is the best wool you can get. It's even better than Australian wool.
Love their sheets.
Australian wool is only AAA class, and New Zealand wool is quadruple A. It's the softest.
Just throwing all those extra A's in there.
Yeah, it's the softest, most fibrous wool you can get.
Got lots of lanolin.
It was a lanolin, but it doesn't leak like Australian wool.
Yeah,
leaks its lanolin. It's all just really beautifully fluffy.
Yeah,
and it makes the most amazing garments, and they make a lot of pool tables out of Australian felt.
Yeah.
And they now bale Australian wool with a product made out of wool, like poor quality wool, because they were finding, when they were making garments and pool tables, they were finding plastic fibers woven into the
from the packaging,
and then had to pick it out with tweezers and go, this is fucked. And then one guy one time said, fuck, it'd be all right if this stuff was just wool, we could paint over it. And I went, hang on.
Yes, we've got lots of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I hear the wool
in Australia that you know well.
Yeah.
Where we used to pay the sheep farmers a quota.
God, yeah, the bloody sheep. What did they call? Wasn't the wool store? What was it when?
Stockpile.
The stockpiles, like millions of tons of fucking wool that the government had bought.
We couldn't sell. No one wanted
it. Too much of it.
And we would buy this shit off of farmers every year at a guaranteed price. And they were laughing all the way to the fucking bank with half-price diesel, half-price fucking everything, selling wool that they knew wasn't selling, but the government was buying. So they were just going, have some wool. And they go, yeah. And they were spending so much money in storage that came alone to something like $25 million in storage. Every time you fucking opened a shed, there was wool bales in it.
Yeah.
And there was these fucking huge constructions. There was outside Bathurst, New South Wales, there's this whole tank storage unit area. And it's fucking enormous, right? You put tanks in there, huge sheds made out of wood. Just incredible. And you can imagine a tank garage, right? They're a bit big. But they would have enough room for 100 tanks in them. But then they would have the next shed close to half a kilometer away. Because, you don't want to put all your tanks where the planes can just hit one fucking building. You want to make it a bit hard.
Decentralize it a little,
and hence having shitloads of tanks in Bathurst, because they have shitloads of tanks in lots of different places. And me and Phil Rolfe went out there one day, and he said, what do you think's in these buildings? And I said, tanks. Right? Because the first 5 fucking buildings he'd gone through, were like tanks. And he said, we can't go in them because there's young men with guns who will fucking shoot us. And I went, yeah, we don't want that. He said, these ones we can go right up to an open and check out what's inside. And I said, oh, museum time. He said, kind of. And so we opened it up, and it was packed to the door with fucking wool bales. Okay, these sheds are 4 stories high and 300 meters long and 100 meters wide. And you just go, right. And they're high because they had lifting gear, like industrial lifting gear in the roof, like cranes and shit. So you can move turrets and put them over in a corner. Yeah, it was packed to the lifting gear with wool. And I said, into these 3 sheds are full of wool. The Australian government back in the 80s, early 80s, decided to push the wool stocks around the country so that no one would find like one wool store that was just the size of a planet. It was just another lie of the Liberal Party. And then Paul Keating came in and said, no more of this fucking buying shit for free. That's over. And the farmers went, you're fucked and we're not going to vote for you. And it was like, joke's on you. You didn't before. And then they said, well, we're going to complain about water. And then Keating said about the city's use of water. And Keating said, joke's on you. The city paid for the fucking hydro and the water and the fucking irrigation. So the city owns that fucking water. So you can pay me for the water. Well, now we're going to... Do you want to keep this up? Because I do you. And finally the farmers said, what do you want next? Cyro's going to come and help you with everything to make you more efficient. You are going to be the most efficient farmers in the fucking world. You are going to sell at market costs. And they went, and we're killing tariffs. Because we can't get into any other industries if we got tariffs. And so we were one of the first countries to kill off all our tariffs. And the farmers hated it. And then 3-4 years later, some bumper crops came in and fucking some CSIRO-led efficiencies came in, and all of a sudden the fucking money started rolling in. And now this was luck. This was pure luck. China turned around and said, we think we'd like to put our citizens in warm jumpers and make our suits, those fucking suits they wear, out of wool that doesn't cost a fucking fortune. So we would like to buy some Australian wool. How much? Most of it. And you can. And so we made a fortune out of that. That went straight back into the CSIRO and went straight back into primary produce. And the farmers kept on grumbling about Labor, who had basically saved their ass again and made them rich again. And then effectively they became price competitive in the world in all of the farming industries, and they still are really price competitive. Now, we can't do the American trick, which is they buy their farmers' wheat, say, at $2,000 a tonne, and the world price is $600 a tonne. They sell it at $600 a tonne, but they buy it at $2,500 because they can afford to. And that was essentially the situation here, but they stopped that. And now the farmers are all at the world price fucking, they're at world price fucking standards. So they have to beat that. But what America can do, and it does it a lot, if it has especially a third world country that's not towing the line, they'll find its primary industry and they will undercut that world price by half. And they will keep doing it until the third world country in question fucking starts to toe the fucking line. Because they'll say quite openly, we will make you broke.
Yeah.
If you don't do this for us, we will fuck you. And Canada and Australia tend to get the shits when they do that because we've got to match it. And it's difficult. But we've got some awfully clever things that have happened because of it. And one of the most awfully clever things, and I bring this up, and the reason why this is a long way around, because I found out today, there was an Australian satellite program that used American and Japanese weather satellites to take infrared photographs of crops in Australia and had bands within the infrared that showed the health of the crops in Australia. And they said, well, while we're here, we'll get the rest of the world's crops as well. And so they had a heads up about what was growing, where it was growing, how healthy it was, when it was ready for harvest, and where they could optimize their market push. So we could put tomatoes on the world faster than anyone. We could put wheat out twice. We could put wool out whenever we fucking wanted. We could put out, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if it was beans to fucking macadamia nuts, don't you worry about it. Somehow Australia was beating the market at prices no one could get to. And then the French dobbing bastards caught a picture that came down from one of the satellites and said, this is interesting. This was addressed to Australia, but we happened to see it. And they went, ooh. And the French, of course, have scientists, and they're not totally fucked. And they said, oh, the dumb Australians have done something quite clever here. And they went through and they realised that they had a fucking total lock on what was going on in the crops. And so they said, oh, we could do that too. And they fucking boasted about it. So everybody's doing it now. But what they didn't find out was within the same photos, the Australians were looking for minerals as well. Because you can tell what minerals are under the ground by the plant light on top of the ground. And so you can say there's a mine there because there's whole Gassidua pantiphascus. I'm very good with plant names. And it's 40 years since that satellite went up.
Oh, fair enough.
So there you go.
Hey, but news of the day. I don't know if you've seen this today. The more I think of this, I get fucking exasperated and angry. Cockheads in Sydney. Okay, international flight coming in from into Sydney. People returning from overseas. They get herded up, get on the bus. You go into 2 weeks hotel quarantine. But this pair, two German nationals, Germany, a place that is having a really fucking bad outbreak of the coronavirus. 54-year-old woman, a 15-year-old boy. They got put on a plane to Melbourne. And so, New South Wales Health does some screening thing at the airport. I think it's like if someone's got a temperature or something, they're like, okay, you're actually going to Special Town. Everyone else is just going to hotel. But yeah, they screened. Everyone's like, okay, get on the bus. Are you going to go to the hotel? But this pair said to the cops, oh, we've got to catch a flight to Melbourne. And then the police, I don't know, tried to work out what was happening. And they somehow got the idea these people had an exemption and could just get on a flight that had a bunch of other people on the fucking flight and go to Melbourne. And it's like, what the fuck? And so they've had an immediate COVID test which is returned negative, and they're having another one tomorrow, and if that's negative as well, we go, okay, the almost 200 people that we've just put into isolation can go about their business.
I heard about this. I heard some people who got put into instant isolation from that flight calling their bosses, having to say, I've just got put into instant isolation because of these two fucking dickheads. And
the Germans are not the dickheads. The Germans are not the dickheads.
No, they're
what
not.
Sort of shit for brains fucking cop dealing with the most critical fucking health issue in this fucking country talks to someone and it's like, you've got to go to isolation. Oh no, not me. I'm going to Melbourne. Oh, fair enough then. Off you go. That's like the Monty Python Life of Brian scene with the crucifixion.
Crucifixion line up on the left.
First door on the left. He goes, no, not me. I'm for freedom. Oh, really? Good for you. Off you go then. And it's just like, except they didn't fess up and say, no, I'm not. So, and apparently there's a language barrier. But in what fucking world do you just go, oh, yeah, we should just put these people on a domestic flight? They've come from fucking pestilence infested Europe and just gone, oh, yeah, no, they shouldn't go into quarantine. We should put them on a plane full of people.
Was as soon as the plane landed in Victoria, the plane was met by police.
No, that is not what happened. That is not what happened.
Tell me what happened.
They got off the plane and then they're wandering around saying, I'm trying to hire a car to get where we're going. And the person from the car rental place said, what now? And they went, oh, yeah, we've just flown in from Germany, and in Sydney, they put us on a plane to come here, and now we're trying to get them. And then the car rental person's going, just a minute. Picks up the phone and goes, what the fuck? What the fuck? These people come in from Germany, and they put them on a fucking plane. What the fuck? And the health people, DHSS, come up and say, hi, folks, how are you going? I understand you've just come in from Germany. Yeah, we're trying to get out. No, what you're doing is going into quarantine. Yeah, and you're going to be super popular because so's everyone else on your flight. I think they didn't have to go into hotel quarantine. It's like you go home and you have to stay home until we tell you otherwise. But I don't blame the Germans or how fucking stupid would this is what's going to fuck us. A combination of unbelievable stupidity and the occasional arsehole, because we had this stuff all over in the first. It happened less in the second wave, but all over the first wave, it'd be bloody, bloody, blah. And this cockhead, when they had all the symptoms and they had a test but haven't had the result, they fucked off to somewhere else and went to a pub and went to a shopping center. And so between absolute fucking morons like this cop who's done the or probably multiple cops who've done the stupidest thing imaginable, like it makes my brain fucking explode to think about it. It's so fucking stupid,
doesn't it?
And couple with people that stupid and with the occasional arsehole, that's what's gonna undo us. Buddy asking, when did this happen? Today, my friend. It happened today, this morning. Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you there's still pizza in there. So yeah.
However, I was actually happy that it got immediately worked upon this very day. Like, we're not looking for Germans. We're not looking for flights full of people.
Yeah.
It happens straight away in the airport when the plane touched down. Yes, it took fucking a fast-thinking car rental to figure it out, but it didn't take fucking 4 days for these people to wander around Melbourne touching
people. But that's blind chance. That is blind chance. If those people were a bit more confident and had just walked out of the airport and got in a taxi, that would have been it. And Abigail, what happened is 2 German nationals flew into Sydney where they should have gone straight into quarantine. But on their way to the quarantine bus, they just said something to a cop like, "Oh, we're supposed to get on a flight to Melbourne." And the cops somehow got into their head these people had some sort of exemption and called around and went, "Oh, yeah, okay, there's the domestic thing. Go on a flight to Melbourne, a flight full of people when they've just come in from bloody plague-infested Europe." And look, at the moment, it looks like it's going to be okay. They've had an immediate COVID test, which returned negative. They're going to have another one tomorrow. And if that turns negative, then they will just be in hotel quarantine in Melbourne. They'll do something with them in Melbourne for 2 weeks. But luckily, all the other people on the plane who have been put in home self-detention, they'll get the call and say, "You can go about your business," because turns out that the people don't actually have the Rona. But it's like, the cops have reviewed their processes and tightened things and go, what was the review? It was like, don't be stupid motherfuckers. Yeah. What the fuck? Okay, next time you go, am I being a cunt? Am I being a cunt? Oh my God.
You'll be in tumpity fuck for about 6 years. I'll see you later.
Jesus.
Bloody, as far as I understand too, the people in self-isolation are being visited like mad from the Royal District nurses and getting COVID tests quick as, which is probably a good idea.
I'm not sure that they're testing them because it's a comparatively low risk, but it's like you've got to self-isolate, and if the Germans turned out to test positive, then they'd be testing everyone. I think step one was stay home and wait.
I read today on the Google, they said that the Royal District Nursing Service was going out and getting sampling testing of the people on the plane for goodness and safety. That's just what I read on the Google today.
All right. Well, that hasn't been. Well, again, what most of the media is highlighting is what the fuck.
Which is fair enough. Which is totally fair enough. And I get that. I also, I don't know. It just strikes me as I don't honestly know how far the Germans would have got. Because
they would have got, if they had got into a taxi and then into a hotel and then gone shopping, and then there was nothing to stop them because of this fucking absolute moron or several morons in Sydney. It's just like that. I mean, that is the stupidest fucking thing I have heard this entire year, and some dumb fucking shit has happened this year. But
I don't know. I still reckon the security guard fucking the
that was not true. That was a rumor that the media reported as fact, and it wasn't true. And I have to admit, I indulged in telling that because it was really funny as well.
I didn't know that because
that's what the inquiry
said. Several places.
No. Oh, it was all over for weeks. That was just the accepted truth. Because the media were reporting it as truth.
I knew they were letting them walk around and walk outside.
Standards were very lax. How it got out was apparently one of the hotel staff contracted it from one of the people in quarantine, didn't tell anyone, and then they had multiple jobs, and they had a big family as well, and their extended family had multiple jobs, and that's how it just went fatunch like that.
Yeah.
This person had multiple jobs. They had a big family, a close extended family. Multiple people in that family had multiple jobs, and it was just, and that's how a fucking pandemic works. So that thing about the security guards fucking the guests was not true, as it turns out. Shockingly, the media lied to us. But I mean, that was just a fuck up from a bunch of people who made the stupid assumption that the worst case scenario won't happen. You can look at that and go, why did this fuck up? It's because nobody involved thought the worst case scenario would happen. And the worst case scenario happened. And they weren't prepared for it. They just weren't prepared for it because they never seriously considered it would happen. There's no excuse for being as fucking stupid as someone from a fucking European flight just going, oh, yeah.
Actually, the flight was from Tokyo.
Well, they were German, okay? That was the whole point. They were fucking Germans.
They were German, and that was a bad
Anyone who's not a skull-fucked, munted moron knows that's a really high-risk zone. Tokyo is a high-risk zone. Germany is worse. And
a Tokyo flight to Sydney is one of the longest flights in the world. And they try and get people through the customs as quickly as possible because they're so fucking delirious that they answer questions very badly. So I can see the pressure of that multiplied with the pressure of I'm a dickhead.
No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. What happened is everyone was getting on the bus. Everyone was getting on the bus. These Germans said to the cop, oh, we're supposed to get a flight to Melbourne. And the thick as fucking shit cops thought that was a good idea. They went, oh, I think they might have an exemption. They don't have to go to quarantine.
They didn't see any paperwork.
And they didn't tell anyone. The cops did not tell anyone. We just shuttled on these fucking Germans onto a domestic flight with 180 people on it and sent them on to Melbourne. They didn't even tell anyone they'd fucking done it. It was pure dumb luck that it got stopped. And it's just, I'm fucking enraged. This is why I keep exploding, because I'm fucking enraged by this. This is criminally, irresponsibly stupid.
So they didn't tell any. I mean, obviously they didn't look at any paperwork. I've got an exemption.
No, they just called around and said, I think you've got an exemption.
Show it to me, because it'll be in writing. And you'll have to show me your exemption. No, I've just got one. Oh, well, fair enough, mate. You've got one, off you go. And then they didn't say anything about an unusual occurrence, because every flight gets off and gets on a bus. That's what happens.
Yeah. And apparently there are exceptions.
This is an anomaly.
Yeah.
And anomalies have to get fucking reported in. And anyone who goes anyway has to get signed in and signed out. So they clearly weren't. How does that happen? How does that?
It just, and this is why I can't get over.
It strikes me as actually quite dodgy. And I'm not a conspiracist, as you know.
Yeah.
But it strikes me as quite dodgy because, in all the flights we've had, that hasn't happened. Why was this different?
Oh, it's just random stupid. No, it's because there are exceptions, right? And apparently, it's
there are.
Diplomats and whatnot, or famous people. It's stupid and unmanageable. And some people, it's preferential. No, you can't put famous people in a hotel quarantine with everyone else. That's like dumb and unmanageable and dangerous. So there are a range of people, diplomats and famous people, who knows, they go, okay, you have to stay home for 2 weeks, and there will be periodic checks, and there is actually a punishment if you're not home when the periodic check happens.
And in fact, a lot of the diplomats and the VIPs get COVID tests 3 days before they come.
I would imagine they would, yes.
Yeah, and they have that on them when they show up, and they still get isolated, but they have that ready to go so they don't get stuck in hospital isolation,
Mm.
ready to be tested there, because hospital isolation is kind of scary, but it's good because they can do the tests very, very fast. And if you are a VIP or a diplomat and need to get back to work quickly, they can stick you in hospital isolation and you're out of there in 3 days. You'd be done. No isolation, no nothing. You see you later. Enjoy your day. So they do that. But if you've got your piece of paper, then you can go into your home isolation and start to work from your studio or from your embassy or whatever, and you're good to rock. So there's that bit. But those people have in their hand my diplomat badge.
Yeah.
My passport, which says I'm a fucking VIP. My corona test result. My fucking exemption papers. I mean, it's a fucking sheaf of documents.
Yeah.
That you have to show to fucking not get on that bus. And what happened that these guys didn't look at that sheaf of documents?
Yep. No, it was just discussion and, broken English. There was a language barrier, and several someones somehow collectively made the worst decision imaginable. And they just went, like, it seems to have gone, okay, everyone on the bus. Like, everything up to getting on the bus went right. And then getting on the bus, and this German woman says, we're supposed to get on a flight to Melbourne. And the cop's going, what? Do you have an exemption? And there's this language barrier. And then some of the cops talked among themselves and go, I guess they've got an exemption. Okay, the domestic terminal's over there. And it's like, no, in security terms, it's the rules are by exclusion. You don't allow someone to do that without categorical proof. And these cops have done the opposite and basically gone, oh, I can't see a thing telling me not to do this, so I'll do it. No, it has to be the opposite. You never do that without absolutely unequivocal proof that it's the right thing to do. It's like,
you got to see it. You got to, like I was saying, it's this sheaf of fucking paper that you've got to see in order, and it's all got to have the right stamps. Or you go nowhere.
Abigail's asking, did the cops get in trouble? I think you probably had the money earlier. They're getting, like, the sergeant's got him go, pack your bags, son. You are going to be the sole constable in bumfuck nowhere for the next 10 years.
Somebody fuck is looking for a few good men, and you are they.
Yeah, no one wants to fucking see you for the foreseeable future. So we're shipping you off.
Some interracial violence out there. You'll be fine.
Yeah. It's just, I can't wait to have how this plays out, because apparently one of the federal because border force, Dutton have already said, well, that's not our job, and they are actually technically right, because everything at the border. But one of the federals apparently was saying this dumb shit about, oh, we had backup plans. And he was talking out his ass because he clearly didn't know what had happened. And he used to go, oh, we got them because we had back. No, it was pure fucking blind, random luck that someone went, this doesn't look right. And did the opposite of the cops. The cops who just went, oh, okay, see ya. They just went, no, okay, you sit down for a while. I just have to talk to someone over here. And you bring over DHS. What the fuck? These people said they just came in from overseas. What the fuck is happening? And they had a quiet word with him, and I went, oh, I see. Why don't you come with us for now? Very quick work. They apparently managed to contact every single person. It's like 181 people, flight and crew. And just said, hey, why don't you chill out, sit on the lounge? Cleaned up.
Do you know they managed to do that in 2 hours? They managed that in 2 hours.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
That's
they
pretty good
went
going.
Yeah,
That's
to
pretty
actually
good
get
going.
all 181 of them, and that was stellar work. It was, Jesus.
And what also I was kind of impressed at was all 180 something 212 of them agreed straight away. So yeah, all right, fucking shit.
That's probably the sweetness. Like, look, okay, we've done one test and it's negative, but you've got to stay indoors. You're going to be tested again tomorrow. If that's negative, everything will be fine. Okay, you won't even have to have a test unless you got symptoms, and it won't. If you've got symptoms, it actually won't be because of these people. So just chill. Hopefully, it's only for less than 48 hours, and we'll see what.
A couple of days max, it would be good. And yeah, you'd have to be very reassuring. But you know what'll suck is that they'll go through and one of the tests will come out positive, and they'll go, "Yeah, matey, you know how on Monday I said."
Yeah, no. Oh my god, if the Germans return a positive test, that's like, hi, you guys. Sorry, 2 weeks.
No, I'm not talking about the Germans. I'm just talking about one of those other passengers on that plane, and it'll just be like.
Yeah, but I think first point is they don't have to get tests unless they've got symptoms or unless the Germans test positive. And given that was a domestic flight, and we've got basically no community
cases, right?
Anywhere in Australia.
And like I was telling you, the Royal District Nurses Service is doing randomized testing, just as a double safety check. Everybody's been really good about it, going, yeah, have a go. I feel for that, for poor plane, if one of those people comes back with antibodies, then they're all fucking for the fucking long haul. And that would suck. You feel so ripped off because a lot of them won't be symptomatic at all. A lot of them won't be diseased at all, but they'll have everything that sucks about isolation back on them again. That would suck.
It's just, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. I can't wrap my head around this. The level of stupidity required to do this, in a critical situation, to do literally the worst possible thing you could do. I mean, I assume what's now going to be drilled into the cops is, I would rather be screamed at by the foreign minister because we shoved a diplomat into hotel quarantine who wasn't meant to go there than you just randomly decide someone doesn't fucking have to go to quarantine.
Absolutely.
Unless you're absolutely sure that's where they go. Don't just vaguely decide, oh yeah, I'm going to let them go.
I really don't think we're going to be seeing that again. I don't think that's going to happen. I saw that story where it said the police own up. I didn't have time to read it, and I am really certain that that all of the branches of your border security and your feds and your state, the state coppers particularly, will get 3 new assholes torn out of interesting places. They're in deep shit. The feds will fucking palm it off onto the state because that's what they always do, and border security will continue working out. I've never seen a bunch of more useless dickheads than border security. I tell you what, I've had fucking dealings with them in airports, and I've had some of these guys come up to me in domestic airports going, well, where are you going today? Well, I'm going to Canberra today. Oh, I see. And I say nothing because, well, I'm not crossing a fucking border, mate. Our fucking interaction is done. So I say that's, and you know, and he's going, I see, as in I'm expecting you to say something, and I say nothing. And this fucking wanked goes, and walks off. I'm just going, Jesus fucking Christ. Do you know where you are? You know any of the fucking international terminal. You are fucking in the domestic fucking terminal asking somebody who's trying to drag bags behind him with a stick, oh, where are you off to today? What? Dick. I did also have the unfortunate experience of going, oh, look at the cute doggy. How you going, doggy? And then I've seen he's wearing a coat and is being led around by police. I'm going, oh,
yeah, you can't be
not
friendly.
as cute as he initially seemed. And he was really interested in my bags. Therefore, the cops were really interested in my bags. And I'm going, shit.
Yeah.
And so they go, yeah, over here on the table, big guy. And I'm going, right, no worries. Right. And so the dog's pointing at the bag. I'm going, dog, I don't know what the fuck you think you're fucking found in there. Oh, it'd be the ecstasy that I took back from fucking Canberra that time. Shit. And I've gone, I'm sure I got it all out. I am so sure I got it all. And anyway, they get in there and all my stuff's on the table. And they're looking through all my stuff. And they found, this is a long time ago, okay?
Yeah.
A long time ago. They find 2 Yowie prints, like print books that I've got. And they're very fucking concerned about that. I'm going, yeah, this looks great. And then looking at me like, yeah, not happy about you. And I didn't want to explain the Shinto symbolism in it or anything. I couldn't. It was not something I wanted to go into.
Sorry, I'm a bit. Sorry, I was going to say I'm a bit slow today. Being Australian, when you said Yowie print, I'm just going the mythical bush monster. What is? No, I'm not joking. That's what I thought. No, it was the manga.
No, it's the Japanese version of girls' cartoons. In a boy's bag, and I had about 4 of them, and they were the hardbound kind.
Yeah. Yikes.
And I got them because they were a set of very classic. They were a set of very classic stories from an artist who went on to be quite famous in later on. Okay, so she started in a lot of these manga artists start in yaoi and in porn because it's where you can get a gig, and then they move on to their own stuff because you can show your style.
Yes,
and then they move on to being brilliant. At the time, I was looking for Masamune Shiro because that's not his name, and he's done some amazing work. Prolific work, and really amazing stuff. And this is back in the days when you did everything with ink and pen, and he would make cities, like these really complicated cities, but they would be, when you looked at these cities, they would be the same city from different angles, and he would actually work out what the city looked like in plan, and then build the buildings, and then from wherever the characters were, you could see that the city hadn't changed. And it was a fictitious city. It wasn't Tokyo. It was a fictitious city. But it was one of the first times that you could see that as a thing. And apparently, there is a porn that had a city in it, and it had that in it, and everyone thought that was Masamune Shiro's, and I was looking for that. But anyway, it also has a lot of homosexual fucking in it, because that's what turns girls on, apparently. Not a good look. Anyway, so the cops are continuing to go through my bag looking for these drugs. The dog knows there. And I'm going, Jesus, dog, I hope you don't find that fucking pill that I was looking for, because I'll get a shit then, because you'll get to eat it and I won't. And I tell you what didn't help was I was coming down from a pill party the night before. And I've searched around in my bags, in my pockets, going, Christ, I hope I don't have anything in. Oh, Jesus Christ! I did have something in one of my pockets, and I've just yawned and gulped it down and stretched out, and I've gone, oh, bloody, these early mornings are a killer, aren't they? And they're saying, so where are the drugs? And I'm going, well, there's none, but keep looking. I'm quite happy for you to find nothing. I'd be shit if I missed my plane, but I'm here very early because I'm a mangy cripple and it's hard to get through security, blah, blah, blah. And so they said, righto, close off. I went, okay. And around the security we went, and clothes came off, and I was so slow. And they went, no. It's not like you're going to run away, is it? And I went, yeah, no, it's really not. So clothes off, and I said, look, while we're here, because I've got my clothes off, you can see that I'm not a security threat. Do I have to go through security after this? Because it'd make my life a lot easier. And they're looking at me like, we're about to find several kilos of drugs on you, and you're talking about getting on a plane. And they went, yeah, it'll be fine, mate, as soon as you get through remand. And I'm going, okay, fine. And they find fucking nothing. The dog is very interested in my pocket, which has nothing in it. The dog is very interested in one of the pouches of my bag, and it opens, and I'm shitting myself. And they find nothing. There's nothing there. It's literally clear plastic. And the dog's looking. And he goes, huh. And then, fuck me if there's not a whisker in there. Like a whisker pellet. I have no concept of how that got there.
Yeah.
Now, the dog is not fucking trained to look for whisker pellets. It's not.
No.
And it finds this whisker pellet, and the cop pulls it out and says, what's this? And I go, I think that's fucking cat food. And he sniffs it and goes, yeah, it's whiskers. And he holds it up to me, and I, oh, yeah, that's fucking cat food. The fuck's that doing? How the fuck did that get in there? I think my friends are fucking have a go at me. And then the dog fucking, and the copper gives it to him, and he's happy as Larry, and then walks away. And he says, oh, I think this is going to fuck around. Because they made me do the whole bend over a mirror thing and everything. You know, squat down over a mirror. And I said, I'll do it as long as you hold me by the hands. Sorry.
Just because it feels a bit more sensitive that way if you're holding my hands while I'm...
Yeah, that's right. Feels more real.
Hold my hand, maybe caress my cheek lovingly at the same time. You know.
This poor copper is also reading off a sheet, and he says, "Okay, now pull back your foreskin." And you're going, and he goes, "Oh, okay," and crosses that out and goes on to the next one. And they're looking in my mouth, and they're looking through my hair, and they're going through everything, and they go, "Well, okay, no, right, you probably had drugs there before." And I said, well, I didn't, but maybe someone of my friends had drugs. I don't fucking know. I didn't give them a coat to anyone, but it's been in many hands. If you know, maybe there's residue. I don't know. I'm a pensioner. I can't afford anything anyway.
Yeah.
And I said, right, I want to get your clothes back. And I said, well, you said that I was cool to go through security. And I said, yeah, righto, no problem. Clothes back on, stuff back in the bag. And this nice police lady put my stuff back in my bag. Usually they just leave your shit everywhere and you've got to do it. She put my stuff back in my bag, packed more neatly than I did, closed it up, and I was fucking out of there literally in 10 minutes. All these people were lined up looking at me going, druggy. And I was fucking straight through, and I'm going, oh, yeah. Next time I go through fucking airport security, I'm going to fucking get some Coke or some fucking Eki on my fingers and just line up and down the fucking bag. And, you know, hey, dog, whoa, come over here. You'd be interested. Come on. Come here, boy. Here, boy. Yeah, so I got through. Got off the plane. And I'll tell you this much. Eggies, when you go into a low pressure environment, make you sweat. And I was a bit worried about that because I was sweating a lot.
Sweating quite a lot.
A lot. And a couple of times the attendants came up and said, are you okay? I'm going, really, I'm fine. I get a little nervous and I'm quite claustrophobic. Oh, okay. Is the temperature too hot? I like it cooler if that's at all possible. And they gave me extra napkins to wipe myself down. And then halfway through the flight, about 33,000 feet, I'm just going, Christ, here it comes. And then I heard the announcement, we're now descending into Canberra, and I laughed right out loud. God. I couldn't stop myself because I said, there's no fucking descending happening here, buddy. There's no descending at all. That's a fucking flagrant lie.
Oh my God.
So we hit the ground, which was the most awesome experience ever.
Yeah.
And I'm going, boom, hit the ground. And I'm going, yeah, I'm going to get my bag and get home and I'm going to get something to eat. And I'm just going to say hi to the folks and it's going to be great. And I get off the plane and I'm just wandering out of the gates there. And there's my poor sweet dear mum. And I'm going, oh, no, be straight. And I was as good as gold. But everyone was really happy because I was really joyous and not grumpy. And I didn't remember to have a cigarette until I got home. And I did have a lot of cigarettes because they go down like oxygen when you're munted. And I had to go up to the shops and get 2 packs of cigarettes because I was going to smoke all night. And then I finally crashed around 11 o'clock and slept the sleep of the goodly dead. And woke up in the morning with the most terrible down. They were pretty ordinary pills, and I had a shocking come down, and I tried to be as friendly and nice as I could, going, I'm the poorest little boy in the world. Thank you, drug dog. And one of my bros basically said, why did you get on a plane fucked? What was that about? And I had to explain the story to him. And he was pissing himself laughing. And he said, what was this? And he questioned everything. And we reasoned that someone who had drugs all over their hand had carried my bag for me at some point.
Quite possibly, yes.
Because it didn't make any sense that the dog went straight to the handle of the bag, which didn't make any sense to me at all. Because I'd had a shower and stuff between, the party and packing. And the stupid thing was I was already tired because I hadn't slept. And I was ready for the come down to happen on the plane. And I was just going to sleep. And as it turned out, no. And yeah, I'm surprised that they missed me eating that pill. I just thought, this is this is the most obvious thing in the world, but they missed it. And I got it down because usually I need water, but I got it down.
Yeah.
And they let me on the plane, and I was fucked.
Yeah.
Of course, you heard the story of me falling off a plane.
Oh, yeah. In Darwin.
In Darwin, yeah. I still can't believe I did it. I can believe I did that. I was pissed out of my mind. Okay, people, pro tip. When you're on a plane and you're drinking and you're in business class and they give you free drinks, danger. When you're high up in the sky and you're low pressure, the drinking isn't as powerful. The effect of the alcohol isn't as powerful as when you hit sea level and the pressure rises again. And the effect of the drinking hits you all at once, right? So I was reasonably merrily pissed in the air. And they didn't quite cut me off as much as I said, oh, I think I better slow down. Maybe I'll have another one in maybe half or 20 minutes, 30 minutes, if that's all right. And she's gone, yes, I think that's wise. And because I was that guy, they were still giving me drinks.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I had a drink just before we, she said, oh, look, we've got one more before end of service. And, shut up. And, one more before end of service. And I'm going, yeah, going. And I've thrown down this double scotch, and then we hit the ground. And just for everyone that doesn't know, I was in business. I stood up when the plane stopped and started to go towards the door, got my carry-on, started to go towards the door. And it wasn't at a terminal. It had stairs, yeah? And I'm going toward the open door, and the attendant goes, no, sir, no. Just wait here. I'll tell you when you can get off, okay? Yeah. Okay. I'm a very pleasant person.
Yeah.
And then she's gone to get a coat out of a I've looked away. She's gone to go and get somebody's coat out of the cupboard. I've looked there. Oh, door's open. Do, and stepped out into a 3-story drop. Just gone splat. Just boom on the ground. And I've just hit like completely limp. Gone splat.
So it's lucky you were drunk.
Gone, that's fucking weird. I'm fucking, that sort of hurt. I'm on the ground. And I've looked up, and all I could see was this circle of red fucking fluoro vests looking over me. And one of them's finally gone, you all right, mate? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. That was a big step. Oh, it's stairs. Oh, it's not like a thing that you go on the air thing.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And they've gone, oh, careful about moving. Nah, all right. And I've stood up and staggered around, and I've heard someone go, oh, he's pissed. And the attendant is looking from the I don't know, Abigail. I am,
that's the pertinent question.
I am cared for by loving hands of black magic. And I've actually fallen off many buildings. I used to be very good at putting on guttering when I was a kid, helping my old man. And I've fallen off a 1, a 2, and a 3-story building. And the 1-story building was brilliant because nowadays you actually stand on scaffolding and the guttering is at your waist and you do it from the scaffolding, right? There's none of this fucking stepping out into the air anymore.
It's not
what you did. You stood on the plate of the wall, the wooden plate of the wall, and you put your foot on the fascia, right on the edge of the eave, and then you've got a bracket and a nail, and you leant over the universe, and into space, and you bang that nail in, and it works fine. You do that 100 times around the house, and it's great. Except at this time, I just leaned a little further too far and tumbled over.
Oh, no.
And I've gone, and because George and Jason have gone, come on, Aidsy, finish up with Smoko. And I've gone, I've only got 2 brackets to go. I'll just get it done. I'm on the 3rd last bracket. And I tap, and over I go. And I just happened to fall into a trench that was dug for the downpipe. And it had been raining, so it was muddy. So I fell right on my back in this muddy trench that went splat and arrested my fall perfectly. And I was like, no injuries whatsoever. And I've gone, right. And the next thing I saw was these 2 heads looking over into the trench, going, there you go, Nosy, you okay there, mate? Yeah. And for the rest of the day, I had this tide line of mud down my back, which is difficult to explain to Mum. And the next time I fell off a building was a 2-story building. And I think that wasn't very fair because the roof wasn't very good and it shook a little bit and I just slipped and I fell into a pallet of bricks that was put there by the brickies in sort of crenellations so that the brickies could pick them up and move them, and I just fell into their pile and sort of slid on their pile, and I got cuts and bruises all over me, but I didn't hit the ground and crack stuff. I just went crunch into this and pushed their pile over. And George came over and yelled at me for pushing over the brickies pile, and he offered the brickies for me to put it back, and they went, no, it's okay, because they were all looking at me going, fuck, you just fell off a 2-story building. And I've gone up and finished the job. Now, the time I fell off the 3-story building was my fault. I fucked up badly. It was me. I did wrong. I was walking over the top of the building with 6 gutters on my shoulder. And what you do is you walk on the sticks of the roof on the frame. You walk 1 foot, other foot, 1 foot, other foot. And it was near Lake Ginninderra in Belconnen in Canberra. And in Canberra, in spring especially, you get these fogs, which are often knee-high or waist-high, and they cover everything. And the sun comes out, and it's gorgeous blue sun, and it burns the fog off. And but before it does that, the fog sort of starts to demist, and you can sort of start to see all these colours come through. And it's just, it's breathtakingly beautiful. And the birds start going around, and things start coming to life under the fog, and you can see the dew coming off the plants. And I was coming over this roof, and there was this scene here of this lake coming alive with the fog coming off it. And I was just going, that is so gorgeous. And I've taken my next step into a skylight where there was no stick to step on. And I should have been looking where my feet was going. Your feet don't have eyes. So you look where your feet are going. Except that, of course, in theatre, they always used to say, look at the horizon. And I was going, how the fuck am I going to walk on this slack rope looking at the horizon when I don't know where the rope is? Fool me once, gravity. Shame on you.
Abigail's also been asking, how many times do you have to fall off buildings before you decide to not go up buildings anymore? So,
when I was 16, actually.
Yeah, that was the last time.
My old man had a chat. But I still went up buildings until I was 23. 3 or 4 actually.
And also just
okay.
quickly, I did want to say forgot to say hello to people, Annette and Safa and Megaleech, who came in half an hour ago. Sorry.
How you doing, guys? Pleased to meet you. Pleased to say hello to you. So I've fallen through this skylight and I've gone, oh dear, I appear to be in shit. And I hit the first. The floors are of course all wood, except for the last, the lowest floor, which is a concrete slab. If I hit that going at 3 stories worth of velocity, I am breaking things, I am hurting myself, and I am making a general mess. And I lost the gutters and had my hand on them to try and get them to hold me, and I had the sharp end, not the beaded end, and I've just simply cut my hand, just shredded my hand, and gone, that didn't work. And then I've hit the first the top floor on my side and scraped all up my side and up my arm and continued to fall. Then I've hit the next floor with my inner leg and one ball, which was considerably painful and bled a lot. And then I finally came to the floor that I knew that I was going to go right through. And I had my hammer out at this point because I thought, this will work if I get it right. And flicked it around and had the claw end away from me. And as I went through, I grabbed the stud, the stick, and it worked. It fucking worked. And I was sort of hanging there going, shit. Like, okay, that's good. I'm not dead. I'm in a lot of pain, and I've hurt myself quite badly, but I'm okay. And I sort of swung a bit Tarzan, and got to the side of the wall and was able to get a steady footing. And I was there for a second, and my old man Rogie comes over and says, "Fuck are you doing down there?" I went, "I've gone for a bit of a fall." And he went, "That's not fucking good. Back on the roof." I'm going, "Yeah, fair enough." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, no, poor form. So I've got down, got round to the ladder because I thought that was, I could have walked up the wall, but I figured, no, just give yourself a bit of a break. Gone round to the ladder, got up, seen the gutter and gone, it pissed me off because the gutter wasn't hurt at all. It just had blood all over it from my hand. And I went, fuck you. And then my old man says, "Where's your pincers?" Because you leave your pincers in the back of your nail belt. Your hammer's on the side of your nail belt and your pincers are in the back. And you need your pincers to, doesn't matter. And I said, they might have fallen out in the fall. He says, "Well, you better go and fucking find them because I don't want to be losing tools on the job," which is very typical Rogie. And I've gone over to where I fell in and I've looked over and I nearly fell in again because I was all, oh. And I found and I saw them fucking sitting on the fucking ground 3 stories below. So I had to fucking go back over the building and down the fucking ladder and fucking get my pincers and then come back up the fucking ladder and continue to work. And I had blood on my T-shirt. It had come through and I've gone, I think I'm quite injured here. And I've said to Rogie, I think I've become actually quite injured. And he's gone, "Nah, you'll be right. Fucking go, come on. We're going to do this and go down the coast," which we were going to do. So we finished up. And at the end of the job, I was actually feeling a bit faint. I was going, I'm feeling a bit faint. I'm feeling a bit. I was thinking, well, I'll have some water. That'll be good. And I had some water and I felt a little bit better, but then I started feeling faint again. I get home and I I see Mama, and she goes, "The fuck," and we realised that the T-shirt has actually started to stick to my skin because the skin's all gone, and it started to scab into the. It's probably a good idea that I had the T-shirt there. I just sort of bled, and so they had to rip the T-shirt off. They cut the rest of the T-shirt off, and then they had to rip all this stuff out. And then they said, well, we can't leave it like that because there's probably fibers in there and it will be infectious, so we'll have to disinfect it.
Oh, so my God.
And I cried.
I was about to say, no, 10,000 different kinds of not good right there.
I couldn't, oh my God. And then it bled again. And so they said, oh, what are we going to do about this? And they went, oh, we know. And they got sanitary napkins, pads, and put them all up my side and under my arm and taped them on. They tape on really well. And I went, okay, fucking fair enough. It's unorthodox. And Roger said that he was in hospital once with a bad back, and he was in the same ward as a guy who tried to cut his throat, and nurses were putting sanitary pads on his wound to make sure that it would stop bleeding, and also to stop him picking at it. Because as they stitched it, it would still bleed through, and they stopped it like that, and it worked brilliantly. And he said he's seen it work brilliantly. That's what they're for. I tell you this much, it worked like a fucking charm. It worked brilliantly. By the time we got down the coast, the bleeding had stopped completely. And I thought as they were going to come off, they were going to hurt. No, they all just popped straight off. The only thing that hurt was Mum said, "Oh, we'll pull the tape off real fast because then it won't hurt as much." And she's ripped it, and I've got the weirdest skin in the sense that it scars on the inside, not the outside, which is nice. It's actually quite tough. But if you put tape on it, they say, free wax and go fast. It'll actually take the skin off.
Oh, Jesus.
So I say, no, go slow. And a couple of times nurses have gone, righto, and they've gone slow. And at the end, they've ripped it off. And the skin's come away and they've gone, you might want to adjust that.
The sanitary pad thing, there's an incident when we were at college, might have been before your time, I'm not sure, but some friends who were going to Sydney, boyfriend, girlfriend, she was driving a little Volkswagen Beetle, and he's riding his motorcycle, and she was a little bit ahead of him, like a kilometre, so like 30 seconds ahead. And on the twisty mountain road near Lithgow, she lost control.
I've heard all about this.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And she went through, it was an old Volkswagen, the seatbelt snapped. She went through the windshield, and it was not a modern splintering windshield. It was this old glass windshield that just broke, and big jagged chunks of glass ripped her face to pieces as she went through. And and then with the recoil went back, and she got cut up going out and coming back, and then sort of rolled out of the car. And a mate comes around the corner and sees a crash and sees it's a Volkswagen. And apparently he jumped off his bike while it was still moving. And,
while it was still going. That's the part I heard too. And apparently he just went straight over.
Yeah, ran over to her.
He didn't think about getting off the bike while it was still going until after the ambulance had gone and after the cops said, "Where did you stop?"
Yeah.
And
the bike was 100 meters down the road.
The cops were going, that bike was moving.
Yeah.
It's actually crashed.
Yeah.
Did you crash? No. And
no, I got off it.
Pieced together that he'd actually walked off the bike to go and get her because he was freaking out. Because people can do amazing things when their mind overrides what their body can do.
The adrenaline will do the thing. But yeah, so he's like cradling her, and her face was fucked up, and there's blood everywhere, and he thought she was dead. She lost consciousness, and another car stopped, and people are crying because there's this guy holding her, and then she wakes up.
Remember, this is the days before mobile phones, right?
Yes, there are no mobile phones. And so someone's raced to the nearest town, which is 15 minutes away, to get an ambulance. And she wakes up and says, "What happened?" Because one of her, anyway, her face was fucked up. And our lad was from the northern beaches of Sydney, and he'd been a surf lifesaver and had done first aid. And he's going, half an hour till best case scenario till an ambulance gets here. She's bleeding too much. And this woman who's standing there really upset, and he's trying to stay calm, and he goes, "Do you have maybe in your car, in your purse, a product that you might use for bleed?" He couldn't just say, "Do you have any sanitary pads?" He's saying it in this real, because this was the 80s as well. He's saying it in a really roundabout way. "Do you have a product that you might use for bleeding?" And the penny drops with her, and she goes, "Oh, yes, really?" And he went, "Please."
Yes,
and so he comes back with a little packet of sanitary pads, and he just holds his girlfriend's face together with sanitary pads, pushes all the bits in, and applies pressure. Because someone's going, "I've got a first aid kit," and he's going, "Bandages won't work. Bandages won't work. The cuts are too bad. There's too much blood. I just need something that just blocks and absorbs." And so her face held together with things, which the Ambos were really impressed by when they got there, because when they saw the extent of her injuries, it's like, oh, anything else, and she probably would have bled out. And but it was when you're trying to lighten things up, because she had many surgeries for many years after this. But it was like, if you wanted to lighten things up, go, "Yeah, well, you had your face held together with sanitary pads. What the fuck?"
Yeah. Everyone
you can always just lighten the mood by saying, "Yeah, your face had a massive period and got held together with."
And the other girls would give her shit over it too. And me being little first year, I was like, "What the fuck?" And because I only got to meet her a few times. She had a twin too, didn't she?
No. She had a hot sister. I mean, she was like the hottest girl at college as far as I was concerned, but she had a hot sister.
Yeah, this was part of the thing. She was the hottest girl at college, and then she wasn't, but everyone still loved her, and she fucking apparently dealt with it really, really well.
No, she's good. She's someone I stayed in touch with for a few years after college, and she did do really well. But that was weird. Just as soon as you said, "Oh yeah, I know a story about using sanitary pads," just stop bleeding. Hey, I'm going to cut things. It's only 9:30, but the last two nights are catching up with me. I am quite tired.
It's bizarre because I was going to bail too.
Good. Okay. Well, we're both bailing, so that's fine.
Guts. Yeah,
and I'm having tomorrow off, but I may well be back on Tuesday. We shall see what we see.
Same.
In the meantime, you all take care. Look after yourselves. Gonna catch you later. But bye for now.